Hey folks, Colin here from Something's Recording, and today we are going to take the headache out of drum recording sessions. I have 3 tips for you on how to prep for a recording session as a drummer so you can focus more on the music you're playing and still get the best drum recordings you can. Tip number 1 is to practice your songs before the session, and ideally you want to practice them to a click. Now you don't have to use a click track, but it will be helpful down the road in post-production. And even if you don't want to record to a click, it's still helpful to practice to one. This is about going through and finding the right tempo for each track, because there's nothing worse than getting your drums recorded, getting your bass recorded, getting your guitars recorded, and then when the vocalist steps up to sing, the song is too fast. So you want to put time into this beforehand. Find out what's comfortable for you, find out what's comfortable for the band, and then find out what's most comfortable for the singer. Because in reality, that's what's most important. Unless you're doing an instrumental track, the vocal will be the focal point for your listener. So get with your singer and find a comfortable tempo for them, and then practice the song that way as a band. Practice it by yourself first to find the right groove and the right mechanics for each track, and then practice it together with the band and with the singer to get the right feel and the right vibe for your song. Now, if you decide not to use a click track, then it is even more crucial that you get together with the band and practice the songs. You want to develop a natural tempo as a band and as a group for each song, and you want to get used to playing together and not just as individual musicians. If you practice your songs as a band and as a drummer, if you find the right tempo, come recording day, you will be all set to go. Tip number 2 is you want to figure out if you're using a house kit or if you're going to be bringing your own. If you're using a house kit, you're going to want to check out the studio beforehand and get a look at the kit they have there. And if the engineer is open to it, go ahead and ask, and if they are up for it, see if you can get in and play the kit a little bit beforehand. This way you can figure out what's working for you with that particular setup, with that particular kit, and what isn't working for you. Maybe you don't like the sound of the snare. Maybe it has a little bit too much ring for you. Maybe the toms are ringing too much. Maybe the kit's a little bit too live for your tastes. Whatever it is, you will know if you have the time to sit down and interact with the kit, play it a little bit before the session. From here, you can then make note of what you need to bring and what you don't need to bring with you. When working with a house kit, most drummers like to swap out a few different things. Most drummers prefer to bring their own snare, and maybe even a couple different snares. Maybe they want to use a different snare for each track. And some drummers like to bring their own cymbals, and a lot of drummers prefer to bring their own pedals for hi-hats or for kick drums. These are comfort things. It's about making you more comfortable as a performer playing a kit that's not yours and that you're not used to. And bringing your own pedals will go a long way to have that effect. Now, the final thing you want to consider when working with a house kit is tuning. Sometimes the default tuning will work. Sometimes when you walk in, the kit's all tuned and it's ready for you. But sometimes the default tuning will not work. If the studio has a drum tech on staff, if they have a drum tech for you to use, then a lot of times the kit will be all tuned up, maybe have fresh heads, maybe the cymbals are freshly cleaned, stuff like that. It'll be all ready for you. If not, you will have to retune the kit to your liking, make sure it fits your style, and make sure it fits the style of the songs that you are recording. If you're bringing your own kit, you're going to want to talk with the engineer beforehand so they know what your setup is. How many snares, how many toms, how many kick drums, how many cymbals, and if you have any auxiliary elements on your kit, such as a tambourine or a cowbell, that they need to consider. The more they know about your setup, the better prepared they can be for when you arrive. So maybe consider sending over a description, maybe draw up a diagram of your kit setup, or maybe just send over a rundown of your shells. This way, when you get there, they can have all the mics ready, they can have channels picked out, and they can have cables run for your kit. When bringing your own kit, you want to get there early as well. Get there before the rest of the band, make sure you have enough time to set up your kit, get it tuned, get all the mics on it, get all the cables hooked up, and get comfortable playing in a new environment. You can run through your warm-ups, loosen up a little bit, and this will also give the engineer a chance to get sounds for your kit, for the kick, the snare, the toms, etc. And if the engineer is up for it, you can ask, maybe do a little scratch recording so you can hear what the kit sounds like, and you can make note of anything that needs to be adjusted sound-wise. So maybe the snare or the toms are a little bit too live for you, maybe you need some extra dampening to put in the kick, and it'll also give you a chance to check the tuning of your kit under the mics and not just in the room. Now, a quick side note here about tuning. You want to tune your kit after you've set it up. You can tune it beforehand, but a lot of times during travel, if you tuned it at home, or during setup, it can detune. Things are getting bumped around, right? You're screwing things in, you're screwing heads in. So after setup, retune your kit and get it sounding the best you can in the room before you mic it up. Now, you may have to tweak it later because your kit will always sound different under the microphones than it does just bare in the room itself. But first things first, get it sounding good in the room. Then you can move forward from there. Then afterwards, if the engineer is up for it, if you do a little scratch recording of your kit, maybe you can check the tuning there. See if the toms need to be adjusted, if the snare needs to be adjusted, and so forth. Tip number 3, our final tip here, is don't forget extraneous hardware. This can be extra drumsticks, drum keys, O-rings, moon gels, or towels and blankets and pillows and such for dampening. Not all recording studios are the same, so not all studios will be equipped to record live drums, and not all studios will be equipped to record live drums all of the time. Here, we have a dedicated room. At Something's Recording, we have a dedicated room back here for recording live drums. So we do have extra equipment on hand. We have extra snares, we have extra stands, and we have spare heads if need be. We keep that kind of stuff on hand, but not every studio will, and again, not every studio will all the time. So make sure before your session, maybe go through, maybe write this stuff down, create a little list for yourself. Think about what could go wrong during the session, what could happen, and consider what you need to fix those scenarios, right? A stick could break, you could need extra sticks, some spare sticks. A head could break, you could need a head to throw on. So go through, make a list, and make sure you don't forget anything in case of an emergency. So that's it. That is your 3-step guide. Go through, practice your songs, pick your kit. Again, make sure the tuning is right after you set it up, and then don't forget any extra hardware or tools you may need. If this video was helpful for you guys, click the link in the description and get your free copy of the 3-step session prep for drummers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.